Nick Alberga and Zack Phillips together for a quick hitter. It's funny, Zack, we talked about it and speculated upon it on Leafs Morning Take on Friday, and weirdly enough, it came to fruition. A one-year deal, NHL deal, a one-way deal for Alex Nylander, reunited with his brother in Toronto. How about that?
You're probably not going to find hornier people than those in Toronto right now. The first thing I do, go to Twitter and I look at it, and it's like, oh, the brothers back together. I saw you tweet about it right away. Like the first time we hear Nylander from Nylander, it's exciting, but I think people in Toronto should also probably like temper expectations a little bit here. He is up out of necessity. Let's remember that more than anything. Nye's obviously outplaced on IR, but it doesn't mean it can't be exciting. It's cool to see two brothers play on the same team in the NHL, no matter who it is or what team it is.
And I think it just speaks volumes to the necessity. You mentioned it, the need. Like, I mean, these guys are dropping like flies, whether it's Matthews, Nyes, Kemp, Yarncroke, Pacioretty, and then Reeves is suspended. So we'll see what he has at the NHL level. Having said that, I think it's important to bring up training camp. He did not look like he belonged at the NHL level, right?
No, he didn't. And there's a reason that he obviously signed an AHL deal going into camp, but there's a reason that there was no further consideration for him being on the big club after that. That said, he is a guy who's got NHL games under his belt. So far this year in the Marlies, he's been really good. 14 games played, 12 points. He's got 8 goals. Like he's contributing there. He obviously made it pretty clear that he wants to be here in Toronto. Whether it's true or not, if he's just blowing smoke up our asses, but told us, you know what? I had other NHL opportunities. I want to be here in Toronto. I want to be here with my brother. Um, I think that's kind of cool. It means you've got a driven guy, a guy who's been performing well. I am interested to see how it translates because I do agree with you. The preseason wasn't that great, but he's done pretty well since then in the minors. I don't know, maybe get some life in him, put going next to 88 in the big club.
I like the narrative about drive and motivation, right? I think obviously he's auditioning for a long-term look with the Leafs, but can't forget around the NHL, right? I like that aspect of this thing and support a note if he, goes back down, he'll need waivers. But
Yeah.
I like the look of just giving this team a different aspect. A goal scorer could potentially play in the bottom six. Now, ultimately, it's going to be up to Alex Nylander, Kenny Hackett at the NHL level. But I think this is a sneaky competition brewing, especially when you look at some of these depth guys, how they're not really producing. I hate to bring up his name. Nick Robertson's got 1 goal, or Connor Dewars. Like, if Alex Nylander proves he can hack it at the NHL level, I do think there's an opportunity there, to say the least.
Well, I'm a huge fan of internal competition. I think anytime you can have somebody who kind of lights a fire under someone else's ass to say, like, hey, Calle Yarncroke, David Kampf, you guys, you think you come back from injury because you're paid an NHL salary, a couple $1 million, you've been here, you're safe. Guess what? You're not. These kids can come up. Nikita Grabenkin can come up and forecheck, backcheck, paycheck all the way to the bank. And maybe he deserves a spot. And then maybe Tree Living says, hey, you know what? This kid who makes 775K, Alex Nylander or Nikita Grabenkin, they're better or just as fit to play on this team as you, and they make $3 million less. So then that guy comes back and he's more motivated. Like, I like that aspect. And on top of it, I mean, we're not going to go down that path, the Robertson stuff you brought up, but look at the lineup, right? I do the game previews here on this channel, and it's like, here's the third line again. Nick Robertson, Pontus Holmberg. I don't know. Throw whoever else you want on there. And it's like, is that line scoring tonight? More than likely not. Okay, now throw in a guy like this. Maybe they do contribute. Maybe a kid like that has some fire, has some juice, and he's finding ways to get in the back of the net and score 15 goals. Like, that's way better than scoring five or being projected to score 5 goals through the course of the season. I'd rather have the extra 10. I don't know. There just could be like an injection of life here with some of this stuff.
Bottom line, make it difficult. The Toronto Marlies are on fire at the NHL level. I actually feel for Gruden down at the AHL level. They got
I
nothing
know.
left. Like, dude, a week ago, it was Gurbankin, Minton and Nylander on the line. They're all on the show now.
I know. This guy's like, hey, great job down there. You're developing these kids and they are gone. You're going to have to make do with what you've got. They're just going away like that. I mean, hopefully the big boys come back soon. Matthews looks like he'll be back hopefully Wednesday against Florida, that kind of stuff, and knocks people down a slight peg. But there's a lot of guys out here on the Leafs. And if these kids show up, that's the other thing, Nick. I don't know. If these guys, I keep calling Nylander a kid. It's not like he's a kid,
True.
but if these guys show up, Why can't they stay? Obviously, Nylander just signed a one-way. He's gonna have to be waived to go back down. But like Grabenkin, Minton, if they show up and they are really good, why don't they deserve a spot to stay here? I'm not saying that's going to be the case, but hey, you never know. They could show up.
Very true. We'll see what happens. So that's the latest out of Leafs Nation. Alex Nylander signs a 1-year NHL deal, $775K. Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Roseau. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.